What's up everyone, I am Monkey Man, and right now I'm going to be looking at a few of the crashes, a few different incidents that we've had in the Kiwi Touring Cars so far, and we're just going to walk through and explain basically what's going on, why they're bad, and why we shouldn't be a dick like we're going to see some people are in these videos. I do accept that these are mistakes, but most of these are mistakes, they're not intentional, but either way they're a bit of a dick move and we want to avoid that. So the first one, we're going to be here at Lego Maguire. We're on board the Place Makers Lexus here, and you can see they made the mistake at the last corner and they're quite far back as we head into turn 1. You don't expect to move from this far back, looking at quite a few car lengths, but they've just gotten the brakes way too late, just dove to the inside and not even collected the car in front of them, they collected the next car up the road. So just a completely nasty move, and really just completely at fault was the Placemakers Lexus there. We're going to take another look at it and just to explain what's going on so you can get a second chance. And you can see they made that mistake, they're quite far back, they're probably a little bit annoyed to be losing that position, but at the end of the day you just got to accept it because you can't dive from that far back. You see they just get on the brakes way too late. Completely unfair move to take out the car in front of them. They were nowhere near alongside to make that move, just crashing into them at the apex, and Placemakers Lexus right there, he got a penalty for that, and deservedly so. Jump now into the next one because there are a few of these videos to get through, and it's not going to be that one this time, but we are going to be on board the Placemakers Lexus again, and this time we are at Dragon Trail heading into the first corner and following Ethan here, and you can see again quite a few car lengths behind, a long way back in fact, but just late on the brakes and they didn't have any overlap, but slamming into the car in front once they reached the corner far too late to be trying to make a move there. And really the responsibility lies on the car that is behind. You can see it's ruined, I believe it's Ethan's race there after he got taken out, and from on board, what an absolute disaster. He had no way to see that coming because, as I say, it's the responsibility at this point, when you're this far behind, the responsibility is on the car behind to make sure you brake in time to not cause a collision. And you can see here braking just too late into this corner, diving to the inside. The only point that they had an overlap there was when they were actually hitting the other car. So unfortunately teammates come together, and again another penalty handed out for that. Jumping into the next one now, this time we're on board with the performance car Mustang, and we're following up Argsy here at Dragon Trail again, this time again in the heavy braking zone. So you need to watch out for these heavy braking zones, make sure you're braking early enough, excuse me, because as you can see, if you don't brake early enough, just completely ruins Argsy's race again. We'll take another look at it. You see he tried to get out of the way, and as I say, these aren't intentional moves, but just unfortunate situation where you've got to be aware of what the car in front of you is doing. He tries to get out of the way, it doesn't work, takes out the car, he carries on racing completely fine, but the innocent party is in the wall. This time we're actually going to be looking at Bretsaw up in front in the Jaguar, so keep an eye on him as we go down the straight. We know that in motorsport you can only make one defensive move down the straight, so keep that in mind. Big Head Ted goes to the inside, but now Bretsaw has just zigzagged across the track. He's gone to the right, then back to the left, trying to block Big Head Ted there, and that is not an acceptable move in motorsport. We're going to take another look and try and unpack this situation. Again, we're going to be keeping an eye on Bretsaw. So Big Head Ted gets a good run, he's following him up. He's going to try and line him up at the next corner. Got that slipstream, should have extra speed as they head into turn 1. So he's thinking, looking at the left, weaving around. Now he's going, okay, I'm going to the right. You can see he's pulled over to the right, trying to get the inside into turn 1. Bretsaw's allowed to make one defending move. We're going to see that. He defends the inside. So that, at this point, is fair enough. He's going to go the inside line, but you can't weave around when you're in front because that's just being a dick, really. And now we're going to look at Big Head Ted. He's been blocked the inside line, so he's going to look to the outside, go back to the left. It's fair enough when you're the car behind. You're allowed to sort of pick which way you want to go, but Bretsaw here just completely blocks him, completely covers him, moving back over to the left, and that is being a dick, and that is penalty worthy in the Kiwi Touring Cars, and really penalty worthy in any motorsport these days. So that is that incident. You can see the car in front and the car behind always have a responsibility to keep it clean in motorsport and have a fair race. Now we're still at Brands Hatch here. This time we're on board the Speed Nation car because he's going to cause a little bit of trouble here at the last corner. I've been talking about how it's the responsibility. There it is, just taps Bretzel wide and then ducks to the inside. Bump and run is not acceptable in motorsport. And again, the responsibility on the driver behind to not cause a collision. Obviously the driver in front needs to, you can't do a brake check, but in that situation we were in a corner, just a normal braking zone. It is definitely not a brake checking situation. The car behind should be aware, should be braking early enough to leave room, and that's not been the case in this situation. And Speed Nation Porsche there in the wrong. And we're going to take a look now at that same corner. This is a clean move here by Double H in the Lamborghini. So we see Bretzel make the mistake, but Double H is straight on the brakes in order to avoid that collision. And then as Bretzel goes wide, this is where Double H takes the opportunity, and just a great bit of driving. He's just keeping that clean. That's a clean overtake. That's how motorsport's supposed to be run. So just a good example there to sort of contrast what we saw in the previous one. We'll take another look again, as we have been throughout, just to get a good idea of what's going on. And Double H is a great driver here, and it's proof here that you don't need to cause a collision, and you don't need the bump and run to make the overtake. Just clean overtake up the inside, side by side racing. That is what it's all about. That is what we love, and we want to see more of that, not what we've seen in the previous ones. But we do have more incidents to line up and have a look at now, don't you worry. So this time we're going to look at the start of the race. We're going to go to the start of the race of Brands Hatch again. So this first corner is dangerous. We're just going to keep an eye on Mad Kant here in this blue Lamborghini. So coming into this corner, it's a little bit of mess, 3 wide. You can see they cause contact, but Mad Kant just smacks into the back of them all. So the side-by-side action was a bit rough. You can't really blame anyone for that. They're all trying to fit through the corner. But Mad Kant there had no need. He could have braked a little bit earlier and avoided that contact. So it's avoidable contact, really, that we're going to stamp down on, and we're going to cause penalties. And when we look at Mad Kant here, he's got no one behind him, no one around him, no reason to push that hard. He could have just backed off and slotted in behind these drivers. Instead, he doesn't use the brakes at all, slams into Big Head Ted, and you saw how much there we go. You don't see any brake lights, hits Big Head Ted, and causes a lot of carnage at turn 1 at Brands Hatch, and we don't like to see that. Unfortunately, a lot of innocent parties caught up in that incident. I believe now we're going to get on board again, and this time we're going to be keeping an eye on Mad Kant once again. He's up ahead this time, so that blue Lamborghini gets a great start, gets around the Ferrari on the left, and it's flying up the field. But in turn 1, we see again that he goes too late, doesn't get slow down enough, and takes out the car in front of him. And once again, the carnage through the first corner. So hopefully this is something we can learn from going forward, that you do just need to chill out a little bit. So again, a great start we see there as he goes up, but at this point, this is when he needs to just slot in behind the car in front. Doesn't need to get past the whole field at turn 1. And we look here, I pause it because we can see the brake lights of every other car here, even the car we're on board. But Mad Kant doesn't step on the brakes until we go a little bit further. There we go, there the brake lights light up. He's on the brakes way too late. They're already in the corner at this point, and of course there's going to be contact when you're doing that. He could have just slotted in behind the car in front, but instead he's caused that collision, caused a bit of madness, and he's got himself a penalty as a result of that, because we want to keep it fair, and that was not the fair sort of racing that we want to see. But again, we're going to go on board to the next incident. This one we're on board Speed Nation Porsche. I believe this is BMW Dan, as we head down into this left-hander. He's miles behind Bretzel. You can see there's a few car lengths back, but dives so late, slams into Bretzel, causes that collision, but also runs him wide, does not leave one car width of road on the exit. And that's one of the rules in motorsport. If you're side by side with another car, you've got to leave them a car width. But even to get to that point, even before that point rather, before they even get side by side, he shouldn't have been side by side, because he's just dove at the last second, pushed Bretzel wide, which is just not on. Here we go. I've figured out the replay, and we'll get to have another look at it. There's again a few car lengths back, so he should be braking. He should be braking probably just a little bit later than Bretzel to try and close that gap, but he brakes way too late, slams into Bretzel, and earns himself a penalty for that one. That is a costly mistake, and of course sort of unfair for Bretzel in that situation. That is going to be all the incidents we've had in the Kiwi Touring Cars so far. That's people being a dick in motorsport. We actually want to avoid that. If you want to be a dick, just copy what they've done. but really we want to avoid those situations, and that's why we want to have a look at it and see what really goes wrong, how we can avoid those situations. Hopefully that's been helpful, or at least entertaining, and hopefully we don't have another one of these videos in the future, but we might do if there are more incidents, so stay tuned to the channel. Until then though, see you later, goodbye, wear sunscreen, stay awesome, cheesy outro, I'm done.